All right. Just,
Good evening, Honorable Chair, and good evening, Chief Secretary, and members of the media, and welcome to this post-cabinet briefing. I will hand you over to the Chief Secretary for this much of your time.
Thank you very much. Welcome, members of the media, to the 7th post-cabinet briefing, which is going to be presented as usual by our chair and minister, who is here with us as usual. Your minister is our minister. So without much ado, Honorable Minister, I hand over to you.
thank you very much, Chief Secretary, and I want to thank my permanent secretary. Once again, I want to welcome you, and sorry for a bit of delay, but we always try to not to keep it for too long, and we certainly will not keep it for too long. But as usual, thank you very much for supporting. Today is the 7th post-cabinet press statement. First, Cabinet received an update report from the chairperson of the ad hoc interministerial task force on the COVID-19 outbreak, Honorable Kashiri Mchinguli. Cabinet received an update on this COVID-19 outbreak from the chairperson of the ad hoc interministerial task force, Minister of Defense and War Veterans Affairs, Honorable Kashiri Mchinguli. Cabinet was informed. Sorry? No, it's okay. It's just this. Sometimes. Can I take it off? Sorry. It's been a long day. Okay. Cabinet was informed that as at 19 March 2021, Zimbabwe's cumulative COVID-19 cases stood at 36,652, with 34,249 recoveries and 1,510 deaths. The recovery rate stands at 93.4%, with 34,930 cases of COVID-19 attributable to local transmission. There are at the present time 893 active cases. Positivity continues to decline on account of national efforts which the government is putting into to contain infection from the virus. As the nation approaches the Easter holidays, Cabinet notes that there is a likelihood of increased in-country and cross-border movement of people, which may provide fertile ground for increased transmission. In that regard, the Ministry of Health and Childcare is strengthening surveillance, case management, and risk communication and community engagement in anticipation of the Easter holidays. Special attention will be accorded to ports of entry and exit. Cabinet would like to inform the nation that it has given the green light to driving schools, the Traffic Safety Council, and the Vehicle Inspection Department to resume operations under very strict adherence to approved standard procedures and WHO guidelines for the prevention of transmission of COVID-19. A request for the reopening of casinos after a long period of closure is under consideration by government, given the critical role played by that sector in our economy. Government, in conjunction with the sector, is currently working on modalities for a safe resumption of activities in that sector. Then the Cabinet got a report on the first round crop and livestock assessment report, 2020-2021 season. Cabinet considered and approved the first round crop and livestock assessment report, 2020-2021 season, and this report was presented by Honorable Vice President Comrade Chiwenga as Chairman of Cabinet Committee on Food Security and Nutrition. The 2020-2021 season first round crop and livestock assessment was undertaken from 28th January 2021 to 10th February 2021, while the verification exercise by national teams took place from 10th to the 23rd February 2021. The main objectives of the assessment are the following: to ascertain the areas planted under major crops and determine the factors that influenced area planted. Then B, to assess the availability, accessibility, and usage of inputs. Then C, to assess the quality of the rainfall season, the crop growth stages, and crop conditions. And D, to assess grazing and livestock condition, the water supply, disease prevalence, and control. And E, to review overall prospects for the season for the early warning. The crop condition was generally fair to good. The area planted maize increased by 24% from 1.5 to 1.9 hectares. 1.9 hectares. The condition of livestock was generally fair to good during this assessment period and was expected to continue improving due to good condition of grazing, which is currently available. Furthermore, government has initiated a pasture development program through the Presidential Livestock Input Scheme, which is meant to improve livestock nutrition in the drought-prone districts of the country. The program is targeting 5 provinces, namely Matabeleland North, Matabeleland South, Masvingo, Midlands, and Manicaland. Cabinet would like to inform the nation that government will accelerate rehabilitation of existing irrigation infrastructure and the development of new irrigation infrastructure where water bodies are available, including reviewing of communal irrigation models to improve water and irrigation infrastructure management so as to transform farming from a mere subsistence to market-oriented business schemes. This is in line with the policy of 1 dam per district and 200 hectares of irrigation. The financing of local production of vaccines and acarides to minimize mortalities as a result of tick-borne disease will also be prioritized, while livestock production, the schemes for vulnerable households and long-term financing schemes for commercial livestock will be instituted. The second crop assessment results will be unveiled in mid-April 2021. It is envisaged that the assessment will be improved once capacitation of grassroots staff is completed and the agricultural information management systems is expedited. Cabinet received a report on the National Development Strategy Ministerial 5-Year Plan. Cabinet received and approved Ministerial 5-Year Plans compliant with the NDS 1 2021-2025, and these were presented by the respective portfolio ministers, Minister of Information, Publicity and Broadcasting Services, Minister of Industry and Commerce, Minister of Lands, Agriculture, Fisheries, Water and Rural Settlement, and finally Minister of Youth, Sports, Arts and Recreation. Under Information, Publicity and Broadcasting Services, Cabinet was informed that the Ministry of Information, Publicity and Broadcasting Services plays a pivotal role in unpacking and disseminating information on government policies, programs, and projects to various target audiences within and outside the country. To achieve this, digitalization needs to be concluded to its logical conclusion. The Zim Digital Program is now a national undertaking embracing every aspect of the social interaction. As we enter the 4th industrial revolution, every piece of information is to be in digital format, which is manipulated easily and also accessible easily. In terms of the National Development Strategy 1, the Ministry is contributing to the national priority area of image building and international engagement and re-engagement. For the period 2021 to 2025, the Ministry will pursue 4 key performance areas as follows: Media Legislative Reforms Program, then Information Management and Publicity. Particular focus will be given to research on the history of our national liberation struggle. then maintenance and modernization of national communication platforms, and licensing and capacitating community radio stations, as well as monitoring the establishment of licensed privately owned television stations. Licensing of community and campus radio stations is also key to increasing access to information to the citizenry. All things being equal, the Broadcasting Authority of Zimbabwe is expected to have issued more licenses for community and campus radio stations by the end of 2021. The authority will also fulfill its regulatory role through monitoring compliances of the 6 privately owned television stations that were given licenses and given a time frame of 18 months from December 2020, going onwards, so that they will monitor to see if they've completed up the setting up and also beginning of airing of programs. The same will be done for licensed community radio stations. Under the Ministry of Industry and Commerce, Cabinet was informed that the Ministry of Industry and Commerce seeks to facilitate and promote the development of sustainable, innovative, inclusive, and globally competitive industrial and commercial enterprises for improved consumer welfare and economic growth. The Ministry will ensure improved performance of the manufacturing sector through prioritizing agro-based value chain, pharmaceutical value chain, bus and truck assembly value chain, iron and steel and general engineering value chain, and plastic waste value chain. Focus will also be on increasing growth in the manufacturing sector and improving linkages of the services sector with productivity sectors. Under the Ministry of Lands, Agriculture, Fisheries, Water and Rural Settlement, Cabinet also noted that the Ministry of Lands, Agriculture, Fisheries, Water and Rural Settlement seeks to facilitate the growth of a modern, sustainable and viable climate-smart agriculture sector for the improvement of food security and self-sufficiency and nutrition status. It also seeks to increase farm incomes. The Ministry's focus will be on the agriculture food systems and transformation strategy, which is anchored on the Agricultural Recovery Plan, the Livestock Growth Plan, the Horticultural Recovery and Growth Plan, the Accelerated Irrigation Rehabilitation and Development Plan, and the Integrated Agriculture Information Management System, AIMS, Implementation Plan. Then under the Youth, Sport, Arts and Recreation Ministry, the Minister, Honorable Kirsty Coventry, gave the report, and she reported to Cabinet. Under the ministry, the ministry seeks to promote development of youth vocational skills, sport, arts and recreation. The ministry is targeting the following deliverables under NDS 1. A. Increased youth participation in development and decision-making processes. B. Increased promotion and safeguarding of cultural and creative practices, goods and services. Then C. Increased levels of participation in sport and recreation activities. And D. Increased social cohesion, sense of national identity and pride. Among its programs will be the training of youth in national orientation, establishment of youth interact centers, establishment of provincial and district offices for the Zimbabwe Youth Council, review of the National Youth Service curriculum, establishment of production incubation hubs, retooling of vocational centers, establishment of sport and recreational facilities, and consumption of arts and culture products and services, among many others. The Cabinet received a progress report on the procurement and rollout of COVID-19 vaccines. Cabinet received and approved a progress report on the procurement and rollout of COVID-19 vaccines, which was presented by the Honorable Vice President and Minister of Health and Childcare, Honorable CGDN Chiwenga. Pertaining to the COVID-19 vaccination rollout program, Cabinet was informed that following a successful phase 1, stage 1 rollout targeting frontline workers, stage 2 of the phase 1 vaccine rollout is since started. And they are targeting the following: the clergy, the teachers, the judiciary, the security services, people with chronic conditions, and the elderly, that is 60 years and above. His Excellency, the President, Comrade E.G. Mnangagwa, will launch stage 2 of the vaccination rollout program in Victoria Falls tomorrow, Wednesday, the 24th of March 2021. The political principals will also participate in the launch, where multiple stakeholders will also take part in the country's youngest city, Victoria Falls. Cabinet would like to inform the nation that most of the first group of people who were vaccinated in stage 1 have already received their second dose of the Sinopharm vaccine on the 10th March 2021. And the program is ongoing with the rest of the recipients in that category receiving their second dose. A total of 42,301 people were vaccinated as of day 28 of the program, that is countrywide. Then Cabinet received a report on the Public Finance Management Amendment Bill 2021. Cabinet considered and approved the Public Finance Management Amendment Bill 2021, which was presented by the Minister of Justice, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs, Honorable Ziambe, as the chairperson of the Cabinet Committee on Legislation. Cabinet was informed that the bill is intended to amend the Public Finance Management Act, Chapter 2219, so as to align it to the Constitution. Through the amendments, there shall be provision for provincial and metropolitan councils and local authorities and for parliamentary oversight of state revenues and expenditures. As the Second Republic seeks to improve the management of public resources, Cabinet was informed that Treasury will be required to establish banking accounts with the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe or an authorized financial institution, while the President will be able to authorize the issue of money from the Consolidated Revenue Fund during the dissolution of Parliament, and thereby ensure the continuation of service provision. All financial statements shall comply with the generally accepted accounting practices as approved by the Accountant General. In addition, Cabinet noted that any person who is responsible for the expenditure of public funds shall ensure that such funds are spent in accordance with authorized purposes and amounts. Every accounting officer shall ensure that paper control system exists for the custody and management of assets, as well as ensure effective, efficient, economical, and transparent use of the assets. Then we received another report on the Copper Control Amendment Bill. Cabinet considered and approved the Copper Control Amendment Bill, and this was presented by the Minister of Justice, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs, Honorable Ziambe. Cabinet was informed that the bill seeks to provide for the offense of vandalism of utilities through the theft of copper, which is then sold on the black market. The bill makes it illegal for any person to possess copper without a certificate of origin for that copper. In order to curb theft of copper, the police will require anyone found in possession of copper to provide the names and addresses of both the seller and the purchaser, description and quantity of the copper, and the reasons for disposal. Convicted copper thieves will now be liable to imprisonment for a period of not less than 30 years without the option of a fine. In addition, any vehicle or device used to illegally transport copper will now be forfeited to the state. Then we received principles for the proposed Arts and Culture Bill 2020. Cabinet considered and approved the principles of the proposed Arts and Culture Bill 2020, and this was presented by the Minister of Sports, Arts and Recreation, Honorable Kirsty Coventry. Cabinet noted that currently the country has no legislation that regulates arts and culture promotion and development, cultural and creative industries. There is no regulation currently. Intellectual property rights of cultural and creative practitioners and safeguarding intangible cultural heritage and cultural expressions. In passing the principles, Cabinet noted that the Constitution of Zimbabwe has provisions for the state to promote regional and Pan-African cultural expression. Section 33 of the Constitution also provides for the preservation of traditional knowledge. The state is obliged to preserve, protect, and promote indigenous knowledge systems. This includes knowledge of medicinal and other properties of animal and plant life possessed by local communities and people. The envisaged bill will provide for arts and cultural structures, practitioners, and administrators, including the decentralization of the structures to provincial and district levels. Furthermore, Cabinet noted that the new bill will unify the law dealing with the arts and culture sector as opposed to the current fragmentation of the laws. The bill will also provide for penalties for violation of the law and establish, regulate, and maintain the Arts Development Fund. It will also provide for the safeguarding of the intangible cultural heritage and cultural expressions. Cabinet then received a report on the implementation of the 600-day cycle and preparations for the 7th cycle of the Second Republic. Cabinet received an update report on the implementation of the 600-day cycle and preparations for the 7th cycle of the Second Republic, and this was presented by the Minister of State for Presidential Affairs and Monitoring Implementation of Government Programs, Honorable Joram Gumbo. The 6th cycle commenced on the 3rd of August and ended on 10th December 2020. Cabinet noted that despite the harsh realities of the COVID-19 pandemic, ministries submitted a total of 113 projects. These were monitored under the 6th cycle. A total of 62 out of those 113 were on target, while 23 performed below target, but within the acceptable range of deviation. 28 performed below target. In line with government thrust of improving infrastructure and social cohesion, most of the projects were implemented in the infrastructure and social cohesion pillars. Among the projects, the superstructure of the agro-industrial park at the University of Zimbabwe was constructed and completed. The fuel, ethanol, and glycerin storage facility was established along this industrial park. Research results from innovation hubs are being converted into goods and services. In the process, the universities will generate revenue and cease to be cost centers. Cabinet was informed that under the project focusing on agricultural mechanization, 400 tractors, 80 planters, 19 combine harvesters, and 4 low-bed trucks were delivered and assembled under the Belarus mechanization facility. And under road construction, a total of 115 kilometers of the Harare Bay Bridge Highway was upgraded. I thank you for listening. This brings us to the end of today's post briefing. Thank you.